and then proceed to the dance. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti. Because mammals, discovering a mammal is definitely. We want a very big round of applause. Come on, Arunachal Pradesh, you can do it better. Thank you so much. The next amphibian fauna of Arunachal Pradesh by Bhaskar B. Saikya, B. Sinha and K. P. Nath. There are 454 amphibian species, frogs and toads reported from Arunachal Pradesh, and from India, and 96 are reported from Arunachal Pradesh. So this is just a small attempt of the valuable information which we have put together. These will be available for the students, researchers.
This faunal repository is meant for preserving the fauna of Eastern Himalayan region that has been collected from the various period, more than 200 years period since the existence of zoological survey of India, for the benefit of the people, researchers, as well as academicians, those who are living not only in Northeastern region and also the entire world as a whole. Since this Eastern Himalaya fauna repository dealing with Eastern Himalayan fauna, I would like to slightly emphasize about the importance of Himalayas for the benefit of the audience on biodiversity perspective. As all of us know that Himalaya is the youngest mountain in the world, because it's just 55 million years ago it has been evolved. It is believed that still these Himalayan mountains are evolving. As a result, they are unstable geologically as well as geophysically. A total of 50 mountains right from western to east of the Himalaya, with the maximum altitude of 8,000 mean sea level, 8,000 meters mean sea level, and covering 7 states in our country, right from UT of Ladakh, UT of Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, West Bengal, and of course the Arunachal Pradesh. If you look at the total area of Himalayas, it's about 5.7 lakh square kilometer, which is equivalent to 17% of our country's landmass. This 5.7 lakh square kilometer, of which 17% of the Himalayan mountain regions always under the snow cover or ice cover, permanently covered. The remaining 35%, another 35% are occasionally or seasonally covered by ice.
So I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the Honorable Governor of Arunachal Pradesh, His Excellency Lieutenant General Kaiwalya Trivikram Parnaik, for graciously accepting our invitation and laying this foundation stone for this great cause. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, which is I loosely translate in English, that if you have come to the world and you are a part of the world, then you have to leave a mark. So possibly after its establishment 50 years back, we are leaving another mark today to have a state-of-art Eastern Himalayan Faunal Repository building in Arunachal Pradesh, in Itanagar, in the ZSI campus, and which will be a state-of-art building, I guess, within 2 or 3 years from now. So we already have a huge collection of faunal specimens. Maybe in the years to come, once the building comes up, we also plan to have a state-of-art DNA laboratory, so that all the fauna which is present in Northeast, which is endemic to Northeast, which is so exclusive to Northeast, we can have its DNA sequence also preserved with us. So tomorrow, if God forbid anything happens, we will be still having its DNA in our repository, safely guarded and stored by us. Our APRC ZSI Itanagar had started operating from 1997, and we are at present, we have some major faunal expeditions in this place, in this state. One is the Dehang Debang Biosphere Reserve, where we are working. We have also worked on the Tawang district. We have worked on Mehao Wildlife Sanctuary, Tale Valley Wildlife Sanctuary, as well as Itanagar Wildlife Sanctuary, as well as we have also worked over the entire fauna of the state. So we are surveying areas, and the surveys have resulted in a collection of a huge number of faunal specimens, which we are currently preserving in our old office building. But since the collection has been accumulated over a period of time, and now it needs a state-of-art method of preservation because of this, paradox, the climate change paradox which we are facing now. So at present we have around 40,848 specimens in our collection. And we hope that this entire 40 to 50,000 specimens tomorrow will be able to have a DNA laboratory, and we will also be able to barcode the entire collection. So we will also have the genetic data as well as the specimen in our collections too. So one of these, all the surveys we have conducted, the most prominent is a recent discovery of a new primate species, Sela macaque, from Sela Pass of Tawang district. So this has been one of the biggest discoveries in the last 20 years. Discovering a mammal is not very easy, and discovering a primate is also even more difficult. So this has been widely appreciated all over the world by the primatologist, by the biodiversity conservationist, and we've got a lot of media and press hype on it. Other than this, there's a slew of new discoveries in the other faunal groups, which include 14 species of fishes, 7 new species of amphibians, and several new species and new records of butterflies, insects, reptiles, and turtles. So this center is also, the APRC Itanagar is also involved in conducting the Green Skill Development Program, where we are basically skilling common people who have not been able to go to school or complete their schooling, say who have not been able to complete their high secondary or the class 10. They have been trained as green skill developers, Green Skill Development Program, and they have become green volunteers. And they have been trained in such a way that the forest department can utilize them as a part of the tourist activity. Those who are visiting the the different protected areas as tourist activity, they can be used for telling people about how to go about in the protected areas also.
Air pollution in Delhi has gone to an alarming level. But here we are lucky, we are fortunate that air that we breathe is pollution free mostly, it's clean, and it's all because there is a very reduced level of emission and the green cover. The state as a whole is blessed with a large extent of forest cover, about 80%. The forest cover is second largest in the country, just next to Madhya Pradesh. And the dense forest cover, that what we call good quality, high quality forest cover, is the largest in Arunachal Pradesh among all states of the country. So that's very unique. And that a major part of it, that bamboo forest wealth, that also is the highest in the country. And that biodiversity, almost about 10 major forest subtypes are found here. I am told that more than 50% of the flora in the eastern Himalaya, that is in Arunachal Pradesh. It's very unique. And the wildlife, that area under National Park, Wildlife Sanctuary and other habitats cover more than 11% in Arunachal Pradesh, whereas the national average is only 5.03%. That also is unique. And the diversity also, it's quite high. I am told that Arunachal Pradesh has the highest mammalian diversity in the country. My colleague in the Zoological Survey of India can confirm this, but that's there, I am told. It's very unique. Only last month I visited Eagle Nest, and there I was informed that bird biodiversity in that region, the second highest in the world. I was surprised to know Arunachal Pradesh, how many unique features we are having. हमारे पास क्या नहीं है, सब कुछ है यहाँ पे. It's very unique. And ऐसा लगता है जैसे सूरज की किरणें यहाँ पहले आती है, और we are at number 1 in the country, maybe in the world as well. That's very unique that we have about the green resources. इनफैक्ट अभी वाटर रिसोर्सेज की बात हुई, हमारे कलीग ने इसको रेज किया. We have 5 major basins, and that about 20 to 25% of the water resources in the country comes through the Brahmaputra basin, and major part of it flows through Arunachal Pradesh. That is the fact. And that nowadays we all know that the entire world is struggling with the issue of carbon, how to manage the carbon. And that in Glasgow, our country has given just 2 words to tackle the critical issue of climate change mitigation and adaptation. The first was Panchamrit, second life, mission life. जैसा कि हमने बाहर अभी देखा, there are 7 themes in that and 75 strategy. We also did celebrate the function a few months ago, and Arunachal Pradesh we exceeded the target. We could pass the message to all that how we can adjust our life to control this carbon, to manage the carbon issue. And I can say that our country is taking the lead in the carbon management. And I can further say that in the country, Arunachal Pradesh is taking the lead. And Arunachal Pradesh has the potential also with such a large extent of good forest cover. Although no study was done after 2004, but I am quite sure that here Arunachal Pradesh is a carbon negative state. Means carbon absorption is more than carbon emission.
I have had the privilege of serving in the entire eastern Himalayan area. I have had the privilege of seeing, exploring, and being inside most of these ecological parks, or you can say reserve forests, or you can say the green areas that abound in this region. So I am giving you a layman's perception of what I feel the Zoological Survey of India is doing and what I feel that the state of Arunachal Pradesh should derive from all this. It's a great opportunity for us to be blessed with the environment that we have, the greenery, the zero pollution, and the variety of flora fauna which abounds here. We couldn't have asked for more, and I feel that there is a huge opportunity for us to exploit the situation. But first, a few words about what has already been said, but in my perception. As you all know that the Great East Himalayan Range has floral repository, and it is something which is being now recorded and preserved in the new block which is going to come up in 2 or 3 years' time. I would also say that the Northeast region is fortunate to have such a great forest cover and large species of flora and fauna. What I feel is that the floral diversity of Himalayas, which as has been said is only 2.4% of the total land surface of the world, however, it supports a rich diversity of fauna, which is about 6.4% of the entire fauna known in the world. Biodiversity is the lungs of the country and the state. Today, with the climate change world over, people are now trying to find ways and means to go green, to reduce the footprints of pollution. They are living in congested cities and metros where they are almost choking over time. Therefore, what I feel is that biodiversity is an all-encompassing term as it refers to diversity of life on earth, from the genes to the ecosystem. It includes evolutionary, ecological, and cultural processes that support the life. It is the diversity of the nature that allows us to all flourish. The nature gives you life. In appreciation of the work being done by the Zoological Survey of India, I would say that it plays a major role in survey, exploration, research, and documentation of faunal diversity. I am also told that they publish quarterly in-house journal which records zoological communication related to taxonomy, faunistic biology, ecology, and population of taxonomy. They have issued so far 168 issues. They have been published since 1947, and the focus, as was given by the chairman, remains mission life. Zoological survey about animals, domestic, wild, different, and endangered species is one of their main goals. And you heard about the types of species and some pictorials that were released to you recently. The recent report released 75 endangered species of birds in India, in addition to what was said by my earlier speakers. And in addition to what was being said, I also discovered that Arunachal boasts of a rare bird, which is Austin's brown hornbill, which was discovered in the deep woodlands of Namdapha National Park. It's a credit to Arunachal, to the greenhouse, and to the forests which abounds here. Zoological Survey of India is also involved in regulatory services, legal trading, monitoring of population, survey documents, and study of faunal diversity. It was said that the figures that I have is they discovered 664 new species last year, which has been the highest over the last 10 years. They also help raise awareness of environmental conservation with focus on species forming a key element of the food chain, that is, species important for health and livelihood of the local communities. I have a few comments to make on what has been discussed and spoken as of now. I feel that this enormous effort of collecting species data and even maintaining the DNA samples of the fauna here has a lot of relevance when we are looking at the species by themselves, what's happening in the world over, and how we are contributing to it. However, as a layman, what I feel is that the new block which comes up as a faunal repository building will not only be a repository of faunal collections, but also serve to educate public in the Northeast region, residents, visitors, and others about the faunal wealth and their conservation that is being done. How is that going to be done? So I have a suggestion that we must use technology and modern methods where we can create niche documentaries on flora and fauna. I'm always looking out of the box and maybe looking at good things which already exist. So why can't Arunachal, with the help of Geological Survey of India, create this little feature of documentaries with niche photography, something to match the National Geographic? I think this is an opportunity we have. We have the content, we have the knowledge. All we need to do is put it together and exhibit it to the world. I also feel that conservation, biodiversity, etc., being such an important facet of our life, this should become a part of the curriculum in the schools and colleges. And in Arunachal, we'll definitely try and include this. We should make efforts to photograph and record rare species and their lifestyles. I have seen many of such documentaries which are released by maybe National Geographic and others. They show you the entire lifestyle of a species, maybe a tiger, maybe a other mammal or a bird or a butterfly. It is amazing to see how they come into existence, how they survive, how they move, how they exist. And the quality of photography which goes into it says it all. I think it is also a golden opportunity for our state to merge this capability of zoological survey, botanical survey, and the forests together, which has been spoken of by the PCCF, to create ecological tourism, adventure tourism as a part of our tourism industry in the state itself. I agree with him that there will be a time when people come in chartered aircrafts and come and see this wonderful environment. But to make that happen, we have to create the infrastructure. One, we have to be able to market it within the country and abroad too, to make it happen. And while we think of all these things, there is no need to let your imagination run wild. There are examples of some beautiful national parks world over. I have seen a few of them. The Kruger National in South Africa. You have the Masai Mara Serengeti in Kenya, the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone in US. Within the country we have our own parks, Jim Corbett, Ranthambore, the Kanha Tiger Reserve, and Kaziranga right next door. If we can have an idea how these national parks exist and function, we can also create our own. And I think that is a challenge which the government of Arunachal is going to take up in times to come and contribute to the Zoological Survey of India in the huge project that they are undertaking. In the same breath, I also want to draw attention to some of the challenges that we are facing and we will face in trying to look after this huge biodiversity wealth that we have in the state. We have to curb illegal trade of faunal resources. We have to ensure there are no encroachments into the national parks so that things are not disturbed. We have to check that there is no industrial development happening by the side which could destroy the environmental climate that is required for them to survive. There is also this fact that I discovered that today the ratio of scientists and non-scientists which are employed looking after the survey of Zoological Survey of India is 75:300. That is 1:4. For one scientist, there are 4 non-scientists. Whereas the Space Research Organization, the ISRO, the scientist to non-scientist ratio is 1:0.5. So there is a need to train local scientists. We have a university, we have other measures, and I think the education department will be nudged to ensure that we create these resources within our state. There have been suggestions as to how youth can be trained in green skilled. I think that's a good idea. I also want to say that while serving in some of these areas, the army volunteered to be wardens in the forest in the areas that they were deployed or stayed. It was a huge help because forests are very large. The rangers who are deployed there are few, and there are a lot of civilian population which depend on the forest for their livelihood. So a balance has to be struck. Notwithstanding the fact that we have tribal population in all these valleys and they abound in the state, I think it would be right for us to train some of these tribal people to be able to protect the environment and the forests. Last of all, whatever I have said that we can possibly do, I think we need to have a proper marketing strategy where we can showcase our efforts and our capabilities and the wealth of flora fauna that exists in our own state. At the end of it, I would like to compliment the Zoological Survey of India and thank them for creating this repository in Arunachal as a part of the northeastern efforts that they have made. I am very pleased to hear the statistics that have been spoken today, and it only gives me more hope and enthusiasm to push these things so that we continue to derive the best out of it. We get educated, we are able to showcase it, and we are able to enjoy this wonderful pollution-free environment that we exist in. Thank you very much. Jai Arunachal, Jai Bharat.